Hello, my loves. Today we're going to look at some more Reddit stories, and if you've enjoyed a Reddit story, why don't you consider hitting the subscribe button? Maybe that's the notification bell too, and let's start with today's story. Story 1. My uncle is a pedophile. I'm 22-year-old, and my uncle is 29-year-old. This may be too much for some people, so I advise people who have strong guts to continue to read my story. For the past couple of years, I've been having constant arguments and getting irritated every time I see with my mom. I still live with her since I'm in college right now, trying to finish my senior year. My graduation got delayed because of all the CPTSD and depression. I do see a therapist for my CPTSD, and I do have medications for my depression and ADHD, but I can't ever forgive my mom. I got essayed when I was around 10 by my uncle, who was around 17 and soon to be 18 that same year. It happened 4 times, 3 times being at home. The other time was on family vacation, when my mom invited him. It first started with him needing to see me, so he used my brother, 13M, to tell me I needed to go into my uncle's room because he needed to tell me something. I go to my uncle's room a lot with my brother to play Minecraft on his Xbox 360, so I thought it was a normal thing. My brother only did that because he got to play on his computer. Next thing you know, I was forced to give head to my uncle. I told him that I didn't want to, and he would say that he would never let me play on the Xbox again and would delete my world. As a kid, I spent a lot of time building things, and I got scared that all my hard work would go down the drain. I was hoping my brother would notice, but all he had on was his headsets and stared at the screen. It happened 2 more times until I didn't want to do it anymore. My breaking point was that I told my uncle I ate, and so I felt nauseous and he didn't care. He said that it was okay. I threw up, but I got scared to puke everywhere, so I swallowed my vomit. After that, he would tell me to go to the bathroom and spit it out. I searched on Google. Can you get pregnant swallowing semen? That's when I knew I didn't want to continue doing it any longer. I was introduced into pornography by my brother when I was 10, and he introduced me into pornography games. I didn't think of it as much as a bad idea until he got caught and got grounded by my parents. So, as all of this was happening, my inner thoughts thought that it was normal until I realized it's something that family did not do on a normal basis. When the Florida trip came, I do not remember if it was the same year or the year after all of the things happened. I was told that my uncle will join us in Florida 3 days after. I wasn't happy and got upset. The day he came, he acted normal until the night we had to sleep. The hotel, I remember it was Tiki Hiki, something like that. It had 2 bedrooms. One room had 2 beds. It was a small bed, twin, and it would be separated from the room from another. My parents and my little sister slept together in the other room. I slept in the same bed with my brother, and my uncle had the other bed that was near the door. As I was about to doze off, my uncle whispered, "Hey, come here." I was hoping it was my brother he was calling for, but my brother tapped on me annoyed and said, "He's calling for you, not me." I pretended that I didn't hear what my brother said until he said, "Just go, I'm trying to sleep," kind of attitude. I walked over and I said, "What?" My uncle told me to climb into his bed, I didn't want to, but I did because I was scared my brother would yell at me if I didn't let him sleep since my uncle kept asking for me. It was pretty late, around 11 p.m. He asked me, "Do you like lightsabers?" I said, "Yeah." He knew this because I would watch Star Wars on TV back at home. Then he said, "Do you want to touch my lightsaber?" I said, "What lightsaber?" He said, "Here," and he placed my hand on, you know what? I tried to end the conversation and hoping my brother would be awake, but he was dead asleep. He told me to jerk him off. After it was done, I was just in shock while he used the bathroom to clean himself up. I turned facing my brother and I wished I had got up to go back, but I didn't. I was in utter shock and was sad. When he came back, he put his thing between my thighs while I was facing my brother going back and forth, and at that moment, I got up and went to the other side. And I pretended to fall asleep. Nothing else happened after the trip, but I didn't know what just happened. I never told anyone, as I was told that if I told anyone, I wouldn't be able to play on the Xbox anymore. I told my friends in 6th grade, and they said, "Whoa," but they never told me to report it to the police, and so I thought it was something that I had to get over with. Until 11th grade in high school, I was in a silly drama with a girl who always thinks I spread rumors about her when I didn't even know the rumors, or she just likes to blame everything on me. That's for another time. I got called into the office, and when they tried to say that I shouldn't be spreading rumors, rumor is that this girl was on Tinder and got essayed by someone she claimed she knew for a long time and got mad. I told my ex, who was my BF at the time, what happened, and he just so told people long after we broke up. I told them that it wasn't my problem, and the school counselor said, "You don't know what happens between these closed doors, especially even when families are around." I guess that sentence hit me pretty hard because I started to cry. The girl thought I cried because I got caught or something, and till this day she still thinks that. But besides that, the counselor told everyone to leave and asked what happened. I told them, and they told me that they had to call the police. I didn't go to the rest of my class that day. My uncle got arrested, and my parents came to ask what happened. They were told by police and the school. I never wanted to tell my mom specifically because I knew her response. My dad got really mad and demanded him to get out of the house and never come back. I went to live with my dad's parents for a bit while everything got sorted out. My mom would visit me and ask if I'm okay and why I never told her. This was when I thought my prediction about telling her was wrong. I was wrong. The meeting between my parents and the school took place for a couple of days. My mom looked at me and said, "This is wasting my time. I am missing work because of this." When we got called into the room, she told them, "He's only a child, my uncle. It shouldn't happen this way." Everything was a blur after I heard her repeatedly saying that sentence. I heard mumbling from the counselors. I thought my mom would be on my side. I was wrong. During the times she would come to see me at my grandparents', I would be in the car, and my mom would tell me, "He's family." When she was little, some older man tried to touch her, but she slapped his hand and she's over it. I looked at her and said, "That's not the same." She told me I should forgive him because he was a kid, and he even said sorry. I told her I didn't want to see her anymore and went back up to my grandparents. My dad's parents didn't know what was happening except that I had to stay with them for 2 weeks. My mom never told anyone. I wish I did, but I didn't speak my language very well, so I never really knew how to bring it up with my broken language. After going to detectives after school and my parents taking time off work, my mom kept telling me she missed work and didn't have time for this. I got mad and told her she didn't have to come, she had to because she's my parent. The week after, she told me to drop the case. She said, "Don't trust these police or detectives. They're trying to ruin the family. You don't want him in jail, do you?" I looked at her shocked and said, "What do you mean?" She said, "If he goes to jail, the family is ruined." She tried to basically say that it'll be my fault. My grandma, Mom's side, will be heartbroken for the rest of her life. I was pressured into dropping the case. I wished that I had continued the case because ever since I didn't, my life had become harder. I was struggling to go to school, and I barely passed my classes during senior year. I graduated, but it was during when pandemic started. Every time I bring it up to my mom about it, she always tries to dismiss it. I've been talking to my therapist. I've gotten different therapists, but now I have the one I constantly go to once a week. How during college I had to withdraw classes every semester and I just didn't do good. I'm planning to report him again and finish the case. It's been kind of hard. After I dropped the case, my uncle invited me to his car, and I had to because my mom forced me. He apologized and hoped that everything would be fine in the future, and he was sorry that he did that to me. He was crying, but I was just not comfortable. I told his GF about it, and she was shocked and said, "I don't want to marry him if he had done this, because what if he does it to my kid also?" Point blank, she never left him and still is together with him. I'm glad it never happened to my sister because she was interviewed also by the detectives. But I'm also so alone that I have no one. My dad felt guilty since my grandma and mom begged my uncle to stay at the house. I've moved out of that house with my mom and sister. My dad visits occasionally to a place near my school a couple of years later. My parents are deciding to move back to the house where everything happened, and I told them I can't. My mom doesn't understand that I will never forget, and she always invites him to family events, and I told her to stop, and she got upset and said the event isn't going to happen anymore. She stopped inviting him after a heated argument, and I told her I'm taking pills because of what she did and what he did to me. She told me to stop asking the pills. I never did, but she's so blind on what's happening. She keeps avoiding the topic, and whenever I see her I can't help but get mad. My mom didn't raise me, my grandparents did. She had me when she was young at 21 or 22. But she would always get me what I wanted. Even so, I can never be the same. I wanted to continue the case, and I realized that now I have limited time. My uncle plans to move out of state across the country next year. I feel pressured, and my mom kept telling me that I need to stop talking to her with an attitude. Of course I can't. Edit, the same year the case got dropped. My mom decided to buy him a birthday gift a couple of months later. Story 2. My abuser will get hurt, it's all my fault. My name is Lily. I'm a 19-year-old female. I was sexually abused from the age of 8 until I was 13 years old. I told my parents when I was 15, and they confronted my abuser, who is the biological parent of my younger sibling. I am now 19, and I've been dealing with the aftermath and suppressing the trauma ever since I was 15. When I was 16 or 17, I was sent to a mental hospital due to my suicidal thoughts. I couldn't stop thinking about what happened to me and how it could have been prevented. While in the mental hospital, I was sexually assaulted by another patient the day before I was discharged. This led to me almost being sent back due to the trauma. The following year, I was assaulted in my math class, and no one did anything about it. I started to believe that this was something that only happened to me. I graduated last month, but I'm still not over what happened. I've let a friend of my parents know that I'm still struggling with this. I still have nightmares, couldn't wear dresses until I was 18, hated sleeping in my bed, felt uncomfortable being naked, had flashbacks during sex, and felt resentment towards my younger sibling because of what their parent did to me. My parents asked if I wanted my abuser beaten up, and I said yes. Now, I'm scared because my sexual abuser is still in my sibling's life, not mine. I see him often, and this is what I feel is truly holding me back in this whole process. I feel so alone in this. I pressed charges as soon as I turned 18, and the whole process is still ongoing, taking longer than expected. I feel so guilty, hypervigilant, and afraid all over again. Because of this, my suicidal ideation has returned, and now everyone knows I'm suicidal. I'm leaving for college in the fall with my dog, and that's the only thing I'm looking forward to. Story 3: My creepy stepdad wants me to twerk in front of him. Me, 19F, and my stepdad is 48M. I really don't know what to do. I want to tell my mother, but I'm scared. 1 year ago, my mother escaped a bad relationship with my biological dad, who was abusive all my life. Then she found my stepdad. Let's call him Jeff. I grew up liking dancing. Having taken some classes, I could say I'm pretty good at it. Usually, when I'm comfortable around people, I dance. I like doing this one dance with my mom and sisters that kind of looks like I'm twerking from the back. I do not do that type of dance in front of men, so please do not say I was doing it on purpose in front of him. My stepdad does not know about that dance, or did. 4 weeks ago, I was dancing with my little sister to some music while doing chores. No boys were around, and it was just me and my little sister, so I did the dance. I did not see my stepdad walking into the house from the back door, not until my sister stopped dancing, and I looked behind me to see Jeff standing there. I instantly stopped, obviously embarrassed, and me and my sister went back to doing chores. That is not what I found creepy. What I found really creepy and inappropriate was when a day later he asked to talk to me in his room. I really didn't want to, but I just wanted it to be over and done with because I do not like him. Once he brought me to his room, he said blankly with a straight voice, "Why don't you dance like that in front of me?" I got really uncomfortable and left the room. I left the house with my car because I did not feel comfortable with him home alone. I went to a friend's house. that wasn't the first time he did something really creepy. Another time, I was taking a shower and I heard a knock, so I yelled, "Yes?" I did not hear anything, so I peeked my head from the shower only to see the doorknob trying to be opened. Luckily, it was locked. I knew it was him because after I yelled, "Stop," he had the audacity to say, "Why is the door locked?" Like, what the actual fuck? What do you think? After that, I told my mom about it, saying she needs to set boundaries or I am leaving and going no contact. I know that was a little dramatic, but I do not give a flying shit. He did so many creepy things to me, and my mom does nothing about it. The reason I'm scared to tell her is because she genuinely loves this dude, and I hate to be the reason she can't find love. I'm sorry for the end. I'm not good at English, and I'm really not wanting to talk about this because I'm still trying to recover from him asking me that and the previous things he's been doing. Right now, I'm staying at my grandma's. Story 4: What do I do? Hello, everybody. I have something to finally get off my chest that happened on the cusp of my 18th birthday when I was sexually assaulted. I am now 22, and it's something that I have only told a select few people because I know no one would believe me, but what the hell, I don't even care anymore. I just finally want to get it off my chest. When I was 17 a day before turning 18, I got pretty drunk as I was celebrating over the phone with my friend at the time since this was during COVID. My living situation was pretty weird as my parents left to live in another country when I was 14. I decided to stay in the US to finish high school, so I bounced around many places living with friends. I did live with my girlfriend at the time and her family for 2 years, but once we broke up, I moved out and came to live with a family who resembled mine a lot. They were Hispanic, loving, with 3 sisters and 1 brother, and they resembled my siblings who left the country, not only in appearance but in how they acted. So, I came to love them as my own family to the point I called them my siblings and their mother. I called my mom as she was exactly like my mom in every way, only more outspoken and very tough with love and protecting her kids. This was the end of my sophomore year, and from there to my senior year, they were my family. I knew they weren't really my family by blood, but they saw me as if their mom birthed me and that we truly were family. The mom, let's call her Maria, never treated me differently. On many occasions, she and I would have mother-son days out, and she would hug me when I cried because I missed my real family. She showed me love and support in every way possible. I say this because for a while during COVID, it was just her, my little stepsister, Vivi, 10 years old, her older daughter, let's call her Michelle, and me. We all got super close during this time, like inseparable, and this made me even swear they really were my family. Maria had another daughter, my best friend in high school, Jasmine, 18F, but she lived in another city after high school. Jasmine would come to visit occasionally, and to show how close I had gotten to her family, I got even closer to her bigger sister than her. One day, all of us were at home except Maria, 45F. It was just Vivi, 10F, Jasmine, 18F, Michelle, 24F, and me, doing our own thing. I was drinking in my room on FaceTime. I remember being pretty drunk, and the rest of the night is hazy. But since I was home, I felt safe as we would all drink together from time to time. The next thing I remember is waking up around 1 to 2 a.m. on the couch with my stepmom beside me, passed out. I embraced her because I saw her as my mom. It's important to state that all my friends said how hot and gorgeous my stepmom was and that they would jump on her at any given chance, but not me. Yes, she was beautiful, but she was my motherly figure and someone I saw as only my safe place and my loving stepmother who was always there for me at my lowest and to cheer me up at my highest. I never saw her as my friends would. I went back to sleep still drunk, and about 30 minutes later, I woke up to someone grabbing my private part. I became completely sober. I opened my eyes and saw that it was my stepmom. I kept saying in my head, "No, this can't be true. I must be sleeping. This is not happening." I repeated it over and over again, thinking it was just a dream. I know people would ask why I didn't stop it or tell her something or get up, but she was an amazing mom. When she drank, it was her way or no way. Also, the only people in the house were her daughters and me, and I was the non-family member when it came down to the truth. If I said she started it and she said it was a lie or that I was the one who sexually assaulted her, would they believe their loving mother whom they've known their whole lives, or a kid they've only known for a few years and don't truly know 100%? That's why I decided to just close my eyes and act like I was asleep. As she kept going on with my private part, she grabbed my hand and put it in her pants, forcibly making my fingers go inside her. I made my whole body go limp. I still remember how she grabbed my fingers and put them in with hers in her privates. She just went to town with my body and my fingers inside her. The whole time, I was super sober and internally crying and praying to God to make this go away. Then I blacked out. I don't know if she ended up having sex with my body or not, but I was completely drained, balls and all, when I woke up. I dreaded accepting the fact that what happened last night was real. To my horror, my mom was still laying beside me on the couch with my hand in her pants. I slowly pulled it out as to not wake her, and about 5 minutes later, she got off the couch and went to lay down in her room. I was completely horrified, especially because I used to always say, men can't be raped or assaulted sexually because they'll love it regardless of the situation. Plus, during my high school and after years, I was extremely addicted to having sex every day, but this grossed me out, disgusted me, horrified me, and made me see her in a different light. To me, it was like my own mom had just taken advantage of me. To this day, that family doesn't know of their mother's own doing to ruin what I thought was my family. I had to make it seem like I turned into an asshole one day and had to do them dirty. The whole time, it broke my heart to leave my little baby sister, whom I helped with homework, school, watched scary and funny movies with, taught multiplication, and made breakfast with every day. I just left one day out of the blue, and to this day, I never could tell her. Especially my best friend Jasmine from high school, who introduced me to her family, who was her daughter. After I was assaulted, I didn't leave right away, but instead a year after because I had nowhere else to go. During that time, Jasmine and I became boyfriend and girlfriend in everything but name. Her mother would have killed me if she knew we ended up liking each other and becoming intimate, as she told me she would go to prison if I got with her daughter. To this day, I remember how Jasmine called me with so much hatred when I left, and I couldn't bear to tell her why. I didn't want her mom to go to jail for my little sister's sake and for her sake, because they would never believe me. Their mother was always seen as such an example and would never be capable of such a thing. It has now been 4 years, and it still kills me that I made them see me as the bad guy, only to not tell them the truth. I now live in a different country and wish every day to tell them, not for reconciliation, but to finally get it off my chest. But I know they will ask why I waited so long to tell them, or why I'm stooping so low to lie about something so serious that couldn't have possibly happened. What hurts the most, and I haven't ever told anyone this, is that Jasmine and I were becoming serious and almost were going to tell her mom. Now Jasmine is pregnant with someone I can only think of as my replacement. I just left her heartbroken and alone, and it could have been my kid she was going to have. Bye and see you again in the next videos and stories.